The city never truly sleeps, but at 4 in the morning, it breathes differently. From this height, the grid of Manhattan looks like a circuit board, glowing with a cold, artificial intelligence. I am Claire, and I have spent the better part of my adult life watching these lights, trying to understand the ghost in the machine. Most people who look at these skyscrapers see monuments to greed or icons of success. They see the frantic energy of the opening bell and the chaos of the trading floor. But they are looking at the theater, not the mechanics. They think the greatest risk in finance is losing money. They think risk is a red candle on a candlestick chart or a sudden dip in the S&P 500. They are wrong. The greatest risk in this world isn't losing capital. It is being right at the exact moment when the world requires you to be silent. It is the friction between a mathematical truth and a social hierarchy. Tonight, I want to take you inside a room that most people never see. Not a boardroom, but a lonely cubicle in the pre-dawn hours where a single keystroke can carry the weight of a $2 million error. This is not just a story about accounting. It is a story about the price of survival in a system that values stability over truth. Look at the screen. It is messy, isn't it? To the untrained eye, it is just a sea of green and white cells, a labyrinth of Excel formulas stretching into infinity. But to an analyst, this is a cathedral. This specific model is for a high-stakes merger, a deal worth hundreds of millions. And right there in cell G142 lies a ghost, a circular reference that shouldn't exist, a hard-coded number where a formula should be, a mistake that, and when carried through the next 5 years of projected cash flows, results in a $2 million valuation gap. It is a tiny tremor that creates an earthquake at the finish line. Now, you might think, Claire, why does this matter so much? It is just $2 million in a billion-dollar deal. In the grand scheme of high finance, $2 million is a rounding error. It is the cost of a few celebratory dinners and a first-class flight. But in our world, numbers are not just math. They are the physical manifestation of a person's competence. They are the currency of ego. If I find this error, I am not just finding a mistake in a spreadsheet. I am finding a crack in the armor of the senior associate who built it. I am holding their career, their bonus, and their reputation in my hands. The complexity of modern finance is its own form of protection. These M and A models are not simple calculators. They are living, breathing ecosystems of assumptions. You have tax shields, depreciation schedules, weighted average costs of capital, and synergy projections all intertwined. One wrong link in the chain, and the whole thing tilts. People assume these errors happen because of stupidity. They don't. They happen because of exhaustion. They happen because someone has been working 20-hour days for 3 weeks straight. They happen because the human brain was not designed to track 10,000 variables simultaneously under the pressure of a looming deadline. But the system doesn't care about the cause. It only cares about the result. When a mistake of this magnitude is discovered, the immediate instinct of a novice is to scream it from the rooftops. They want to be the hero. They want to walk into the partner's office and say, "Look what I found. I saved the firm $2 million. But let me tell you something about heroes in the corporate world. Heroes are usually the first ones to be sacrificed when the narrative needs a villain. I want to tell you about a colleague I once had. Let's call him X. X was brilliant, the kind of person who could mental math a complex derivative while ordering a latte. He was also possessed by a rigid, uncompromising sense of honesty. One night, X found a discrepancy in a sovereign debt model being prepared for a vice president. It was a significant error, one that would have embarrassed the VP in front of a major institutional client. X didn't hesitate. He didn't wait. So he sent an email to the entire project team, CCing the managing director, highlighting the error and providing the correction. He thought he was doing the right thing. He thought he was protecting the firm's integrity. The next morning, the error was fixed. The client never saw it. But the atmosphere in the office had shifted. X wasn't greeted with a handshake or a promotion. He was greeted with silence. Over the next 3 months, X became a ghost. He was left off important email chains. He was assigned the most menial, soul-crushing tasks. When the year-end reviews came around, his performance was rated as meets expectations, the corporate kiss of death. He was told he wasn't a team player. He left the firm shortly after, his brilliant career derailed by the very thing he thought would accelerate it, the truth. Flashbacks failed because he didn't understand the difference between honesty and integrity in the context of the machine. Honesty is the blunt reporting of facts. Integrity in the high-stakes world of finance is the commitment to the continuity of the system. The machine is designed to self-correct, but it prefers to do so in the shadows. It abhors public displays of failure. When X exposed the vice president, he didn't just fix a number, he fractured a relationship. He broke the unspoken code of the hierarchy. He made a superior look incompetent, and in doing so, he made himself a liability. You see, when you are at the bottom of the pyramid, your job isn't just to do the math. Your job is to be the safety net for the people above you. If you catch them when they fall and you do it quietly, they will pull you up with them. And if you point at them while they are falling, they will make sure you are the one who hits the ground first. I am Claire, and I learned this lesson early. I learned that the most powerful tool in my arsenal wasn't my proficiency in Python or my understanding of macroeconomics. It was my discretion. When I found the $2 million error at 4 a.m, I didn't send an email to the MD. I didn't even mention it to my peers. I sat there in the silence of the office, the blue light of the monitor etching lines into my face, and I thought. I realized that this error was a gift, but only if I handled it with the precision of a surgeon. I opened a private version of the model. I fixed the error. Then I waited until 8 a.m., just as the senior associate was walking in with his third espresso of the morning. I walked over to his desk, not with a sense of triumph, but with a look of quiet collaboration. I said, "Hey, I was reviewing the sensitivity analysis last night, and I noticed some of the recent market data might require us to tweak the assumptions in the DCF. I took the liberty of updating the links in the draft so they align better with the latest Bloomberg terminals. It shifts the valuation by about $2 million, which actually makes our case for the acquisition much stronger." Do you see what I did? I didn't tell him he was wrong. I gave him a reason to be right. I framed the correction as an optimization based on new information. I protected his ego while fixing the problem. I allowed him to take the updated model to the partner and look like a genius for finding a way to strengthen the deal's logic. He knew exactly what I had done. He saw the old version. He saw the new one. He knew I had saved his reputation. And in that moment, I didn't just save the firm money. I bought an insurance policy. I bought a debt of gratitude from a man who was on a track to become a partner in 3 years. That debt is worth far more than $2 million. It is the currency of the shadow economy. It is the reason I am still here, and X is not. People often ask me if this is ethical. Is it lying to remain silent about a mistake? Is it a betrayal of the truth to massage the narrative? These are the questions of people who have never had to pay back $100,000 in student loans while living in the most expensive city on earth. They are the questions of people who believe the world is a meritocracy of facts, but the world is not a meritocracy of facts. It is a meritocracy of utility. The most useful people are not those who speak the truth at all costs, but those who manage the truth to ensure the best outcome for the collective. If I had exposed that error publicly, the deal might have been delayed. The firm's reputation with the client might have been tarnished. A talented, albeit exhausted associate might have lost his job. Who wins in that scenario? No one. By handling it with discretion, the deal went through, the client was happy, and the system remained intact. We live in an age that fetishizes transparency. We are told that sunlight is the best disinfectant, but in the deep sea of high finance, sunlight doesn't reach the bottom. Down here, we rely on bioluminescence, small, controlled bursts of light used to navigate and communicate. If you turn on a floodlight, you don't just see the path, you blind everyone around you, including yourself. This is the silence of survival. It is the understanding that your career is not a sprint toward the truth, but a long-distance walk across a frozen lake. You have to know where the ice is thin, and you have to know how to distribute your weight so you don't break through. Sometimes that means carrying the weight of someone else's mistake until the ice is thick enough for both of you to stand. Now, let's talk about the psychological toll. Living this way requires a certain kind of compartmentalization. You have to be able to see the error, feel the urge to correct it loudly, and then suppress that urge in favor of strategy. It requires a level of emotional intelligence that isn't taught in MBA programs. You have to read the room before you read the balance sheet. You have to understand the insecurities of your superiors and the ambitions of your peers. You have to become a student of human nature as much as a student of the markets. This is why many people burn out. Not because the work is hard, the work is just math, but because the social navigation is exhausting. It is the constant maintenance of the mask. But for those who can master it, the rewards are immense. The machine rewards those who make its gears turn. Without making a sound, it rewards the silent engineers of success. Think about your own career. Think about the times you've seen something that wasn't quite right. Maybe it wasn't a $2 million error. Maybe it was a flawed strategy, a misallocated budget, or a toxic culture being ignored by leadership. Your first instinct was probably to speak up, and maybe you did, and maybe you felt the cold wind of isolation shortly after. Or maybe you stayed silent and you felt the gnawing guilt of complicity. I am here to tell you that there is a third way. It is the way of the whisper. It is the art of influence without confrontation. It is the ability to steer the ship without being the one at the helm. It is the realization that power isn't about being right. It's about being indispensable. When you are the person who can fix the unfixable without making a scene, you become the most valuable asset in the room. People will seek you out. They will trust you with their secrets because they know their secrets are safe with you. They will give you opportunities that aren't listed on any job board. This is how the real world of wealth and influence operates. It's not about what you know. And it's not even just about who you know. It's about what you know about who you know and how you choose to use that knowledge. I'm Claire, and I've built my life on this foundation. I don't look for the spotlight, I look for the shadow, because that's where the real work gets done. If you're watching this, you're likely between 20 and 40. You're making decent money, but you're starting to realize that the ladder you're climbing is leaning against a very different wall than the one you were promised. You were promised that hard work and honesty would be your tickets to the top. But you're seeing people who work less and lie more getting ahead. You're frustrated, you're disillusioned, but don't be. Don't hate the game. Learn the rules. The rules aren't written in any handbook. They are whispered in the hallways at 4 a.m. They are written in the margins of corrected spreadsheets. They are the rules of survival in a high-stakes ecosystem. The $2 million error wasn't a mistake. It was a test. It was the system asking me, are you a hero or are you a partner? Heroes are celebrated in movies, but they are rarely invited back for the sequel. Partners are the ones who build the studio. I chose to be a partner. I chose the silence. And every time I look out at this city, I see thousands of others who made the same choice. We are the silent architects of this world. We don't need the credit because we have the control. We have the leverage. We have the trust that can only be forged in the darkness of a shared secret. So, next time you find yourself in that 4 a.m. room and you see the ghost in the machine, don't react. Breathe. Think. Look at the names on the file. Look at the stakes of the deal. Ask yourself, what is the most useful version of this truth? Is it the version that makes me look smart for 5 minutes? Or is it the version that makes me powerful for 5 years? The choice is yours. But remember, once you speak, you can never take the words back. Once you break the silence is gone forever. The city is starting to wake up now. The first hints of orange are bleeding into the gray sky. Soon, the streets will be filled with people who believe in the theater. They will rush to their offices. They will argue over meetings, and they will believe that the world is exactly what it appears to be. They will never know about the $2 million error. They will never know about the analyst who vanished or the associate who was saved. And that is exactly how it should be. The machine is humming again, smooth and silent, just the way it likes it. I'm Claire. If you want to understand how this world really works, beyond the spreadsheets and the slogans, stay with me. We have much more to discuss. For now, the sun is rising, and I have a deal to close. I'll see you in the next one.